So we're gonna get things rolling right now with a very surprise guest, and I just want to read off just a couple of things here in the book because it's just as important as the man that's gonna be joining us here on the stage now. He's a singer-songwriter from Enfield, Connecticut. He's gonna be performing during the Saturday Crawl, I believe.
Vivio Fest.
The Vivio, sorry. I'll get it, I swear I will. And he's currently in mid-production of his second album, as well as performing tonight at the Riverfront Fest, just over here on the Esplanade. So please give it up for Bob Pepek.
Hello.
Howdy.
So I am Bob Pepek, and as he did say, I am almost a surprise guest. I mean, they really did just pull me off the street out of my box, and here to help you guys out tonight with a performance tonight at the Riverfest, and as well as tomorrow over at the Downtown Tavern. But so what do you want to know? You want to know a little about me and?
So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up questions right now. Feel free to speak very loudly and clearly. If not, I will give you this really loud microphone, so you're absolutely loud. So we'll open it up to questions right now.
Joe Cirillo, GameAccess.net. Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you.
How difficult is it in this day and age to record a new album?
Well, as a singer-songwriter, it's never easy. It's one of those things where, as a solo act, usually you're putting out the money for everything. It's one of those things where it's not like you're in a band. You can split things 5 ways with a bassist, drummer, everything like that. Everything comes out of your pocket. In this day and age, with the digital age, it's a little bit easier to record at home if you really need to. You like how I hold this like a rock star, sorry. So yeah, no, but it gets a little bit easier to be able to record at home. I am an audio engineer, so for a job, I actually do audio for film and TV. I work with a lot of the Lego Star Wars. We have a booth here called Doodle Pictures. You can find us here at the ConnectiCon. But yeah, it's a little bit easier and it's a little bit harder. You know, like I said, it's as a solo guy, it's everything comes out of your pocket. But I guess when you are an audio engineer, it kind of makes things a little bit easier. But no, I'm, like he said, like Rob said, I'm recording my second album down in Nashville right now with my producer down there, which is coming out great. It's my first full-length album called Pratfalls and Curtain Calls, which is a lot of fun. We're using a lot of A-list musicians, like studio musicians, which is incredible because I'm working with some of the best musicians in Nashville. However, the problem is like, how the heck am I going to replicate this stuff live when I get up on stage? Because now I have to pull in like some pretty incredible talent to replicate it live. So, yeah, I mean, recording is great. I just released a single. I just finished recording out here in Upper Mass, out in Greenfield, which is now on iTunes, Amazon, all those fun, happy social networks. So, or social distributors. Digital distributors, not social. Well, I guess it depends on how you look at it, right?
Facebook, Twitter, and stuff.
Yeah, and all those fun places. So yeah, my new single is called Down Here that I just released 2 weeks ago, and I had it mastered out at Abbey Road Studio. So I was pretty excited about that. It was under the hands of one of the engineers that worked on the Beatles and a lot of bigger name acts. So yeah, pretty excited about that.
Cool. Do you have a question here in the front?
Yeah, JMZ, podtrash.com. I'm Zach. Do you, like, now that seeing it's 2015, there's a lot of digital stuff, do you think it's easier for musicians starting out today to get exposure and to turn a profit from their music than it was in the past? Or do you think it's more difficult now to, for a musician to make a living or turn a profit off of their own, their music nowadays?
Absolutely, Zach. I think it's a great question. Actually, yeah, I think it's a lot easier for musicians to branch out and get out there. However, at the same time, it can be difficult now that it's a flood of singer-songwriters because it's so easy to do now. When you have services like Fiverr that will offer a service for $5 where they'll promote your music, your single to hundreds of thousands of people on their network for on Facebook, Twitter, everything like that. So, I mean, it's a lot easier in today's day and age for a musician to get their name out there and stuff like that. However, I see it being kind of difficult now that it's so easy that a lot of people are doing it. So to be able to stand out, to find your niche is more difficult.
Makes sense.
Any more questions? Okay. Bob, what time are you going to be playing tonight, and whereabouts?
Tonight I'm going to be playing the Riverfest at 7 o'clock. Haven't exactly been told yet whereabouts. I guess I'll just be walking about, singing to people, serenading damsels in distress, I guess.
What is the worst thing about live performance? Like all these rock guys say that that's the best thing about being a musician, but what is like? There's got to be something bad. Nothing can just be great. I mean, even sex has its drawbacks. You're tired.
Absolutely.
So everything. Even the best things in life have a negative aspect. What is the negative aspect of live?
You know, it's funny you bring that up. The one thing I told Amelia I did not want to talk about was my sex life.
Next question then.
Yeah, perfect. Now, I guess the most difficult thing is nothing will ever go exactly right. Nothing will ever be perfect on stage. I can go on for quite some time about, follies that I've had on stage and everything like that, where I lose power or, something happens where, just to screw me up. As my, in production album is entitled Pratfalls and Curtain Calls. You know what I mean? It's the good and the bad. And I've had maybe more bad than good, but I've had instances where one of my pedals, it's a tuning pedal, you step on it and it cuts your signal to the sound. So you can tune up a guitar and you're not tuning in through loudspeakers. And my bassist on stage tripped over my pedal. I had no idea, and now I'm getting no sound out of my guitar. So now it's a cappella. So yeah, I guess that is really more of the pratfalls, like the difficult things, the uncertainty that anything can go wrong. I've had fun days where I just had way too much on my mind, and I've forgotten the lyrics to my own songs. Songs that I wrote when I was 18. I'm 34 now. Yes, I think. Yeah, 34.
Sounds right. Yeah.
We'll go with that.
You look like you're my age, so yeah, I'm 33.
Yeah.
Go back over there.
Yeah, Joe Cirillo again, GameAccess.net. You brought up a really interesting point about when you were talking about the social distribution of music and stuff like that. There are new services, obviously Pandora, Apple just released their new system that's just out on the iPhone and stuff like that. What is your opinion about these new digital distribution services?
I love Pandora Radio, I love Spotify. My music is on Pandora Radio and Spotify. My first album that I released back in 2009 called From the Let Go. I love the digital radio stations, everything like that. The Apple, the new DRMs that they have that encode so you can only run things on Apple, kind of gets under my skin a little bit. I will be honest about that. The personal experience I had with this that kind of was the nail in the coffin for me was my wife is currently studying for occupational therapy, and we had to order her a book it was a study guide, and it said purchase on iTunes. No problem. We have iPhones. We don't have iPads. We don't have Apple computers. We just have iPhones. And we paid $70 for an ebook that she could only read on her iPhone 4, not even one of the bigger ones. You know how difficult that is to read a book on an iPhone? You have to scroll really fine, and yeah, it's like a 300-page book. It doesn't really work so well.
In case anyone doesn't know how small an iPhone 4 is, this is an iPhone 4.
There you have it. So yeah, I mean the Spotify and Pandora Radio, I think it's a great way to get your name out. I love the fact when I'll have fans or friends or whoever get in contact with me, and they'll send me a screenshot of Pandora Radio, and it'll say it'll mention a big name act, Matt Nathanson, Howie Day, John Mayer, and it'll say, if you like John Mayer, you'll also like Bob Pepek. So to be associated with these kind of big name acts.
I got a girl that's gonna love you.
Well, there you have it. I don't think my wife would appreciate it, but no, it's great.
That was my next question. I was gonna ask you, does your wife bust your chops about the music, or is she supportive?
She's very supportive. I give my wife so much credit. I moved out to Boston for 3 years to pursue music and my audio for post-production that I do for film and TV with Dual Pictures. I've gotten to work on some great acts, and she's been completely supportive. And she's really busy studying for occupational therapy and everything like that. So, I mean, I support her, she supports me. And even when I have to do a show, a couple hours away or wherever I'm going to be, she'll be there to support. If she can't be there, she's in the spirit. So the only difficult thing is I have to wear this awesome rubber wedding band when I go up on stage that I purchased. Makes it a little bit easier. I've had a lot of fun where I'll play guitar and I'll slide up the neck and I just hear going up the fretboard with my titanium wedding band. So this doesn't work out so well. And then I end up scratching my $1,300 Martin and I get really upset. So there's nothing worse than being depressed at the show. Right here.
Hi, Bob. Neil from WYLI AM FM Atlantic.
Nice to meet you.
Same here. There's been a lot of talk about your music online. I'm just wondering where old school airwaves fit into your getting your music out.
Well, when it comes down to old school, I grew up on oldies doo-wop. I attend doo-wop shows all the time with my father, and we're both members. Oh, I'm sorry. He's a member of the Willimantic Elks Lodge. I'm a member of the Elks Lodge out in Brighton, which will be transferring to the Willimantic Lodge. But I went to college at Eastern Connecticut State University once upon a time, so I'm a big patron of Willimantic, and I'm very familiar with the area. And the Willimantic Brewery. I'm sorry, that's my second home, but because we probably shouldn't talk about my alcoholism, right? That's probably not a good thing.
No, it's fun. It's totally up to you, though.
Okay.
Whatever goes in the press that counts.
But as far as the old school airwaves, I think it's incredible. I think radio stations are holding everything together, and it's always going to be there. You can't replace a disc jockey with a robot. The personality that you get out of it, Wolfman Jack, everything. I commend everybody that's in radio that's keeping music alive.
But have they welcomed your music at all? I mean,
Yeah, it's been around. My music has been across the states in some college radio stations and so forth. My music's in about a couple dozen indie films. There's a horror film that's on Netflix that my music's actually in. It's so inappropriate. It's during a party scene where people are like doing drugs and drinking and stuff like that. And then there's my music, so my music's associated with that. Fantastic. So the movie, if you ever get around to it, is called Infected. It's on Netflix. But indie films across the United States, out in Canada, there's no drugs in it, I'm sorry. No, so I mean, it's in a handful of indie films across the states. It's been in out in Canada. So I mean, it's out there. It's just I don't think I've hit the mainstream yet. I mean, my music was actually on Kiss 95.7 for a week. This was after the release of my first album in 2009, where they played my song from my first album called A Little More for a week straight, and proceeded to call me Bob Pepek for a week straight. That was a blast. So anywhere I went, I had people, oh, you're Bob Pepek. It's Pepek, but yeah, no, cool. So.
Did you consider changing your name to Pepek after that?
It's been noted so many times that it's been Pepek that I've often considered that. Very few people know, and I guess I'll open it up to the public to let people know that the few people that know this have also made this known at my show. Oh, well, his last name means belly button in Polish. Great, well, thank you for that. I mean, now everybody else knows. So if you need to know, Pepek means belly button in Polish. So I swear to this day, one day I will perfect a fuzzy navel drink. I will perfect it to my own ingredients and call it the Fuzzy Pepek.
I think we got time for one more.
Calvin Williams, Full Coverage Writers. You say you've done quite a few audio engineering gigs for movies and different things like that. Which project has stuck out the most for you, and why?
Let's see. Well, for about 3 years when I was living in Boston, I was trying to work hard. I went to Berklee College of Music for film scoring, write music for film and TV. And I was doing internships left and right, and I ended up landing my first big TV gig that I was excited for. I was the dialogue editor and part-time sound designer for a NBC kids show, a preschool show called Astro Blast. And it's still on TV, you can still find it on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. So keep an eye out for that, because it's great when the credits go like 9,000 miles per hour, and for that split second that your REM catches Bob Pepek dialogue editor, it's in there. So I mean, that was the most fun. It's so whimsical, to work on a preschool show and stuff like that. So that was a blast. And currently, I also I work for, as I mentioned before, an animation studio based out of Enfield, Connecticut, called Doodle Picture Studio. Doodle Pictures. And yeah, so we have a booth at ConnectiCon, and we do a lot of the Lego Star Wars stuff. And nothing touches me closer to home than working on Star Wars, working on one of the biggest franchises in the world. And you know, just to be able to create the sound effects, or having sound effects that I'm authorized to use by LucasArts and stuff like that. So it gets me a little giddy, like a little schoolgirl, that I get to work with Chewbacca sounds and R2D2 and stuff. So I think that has to be my absolute favorite, is working on the Star Wars stuff.
Awesome.
Is that where you're going to be most to all this weekend?
For the most part, yeah. Apart from setting up a cot and staying here, yeah, I'm going to be here pretty much the entire duration of the weekend.
Can we find you on Twitter or anything like that, or?
You can find me on bobpepek.com. You can find me on Twitter, is twitter.com/Bob Pepek. My Facebook music page is Bob Pepek Music. I mean, you can even contact my personal page. We can be friends. It's just Bob Pepek.
How do you spell Pepek?
Pepek is P-E-P-E-K. It's like Peppy with a K at the end.
Very good. And so thanks for joining us. Everybody give it up for Bob Pepek.
Thanks for having me.